I've just realised I was manually focused for that entire thing over there. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. This is the first time that I've been out of the Vale of Clwyd, well, this year. So, as you folks may remember, if you follow this channel, I bought the Fujifilm X100V back in August, present to myself for my birthday. Off the back of that, I made a few videos about accessories I'd bought, including a filter from Nisi. Off the back of that video, Nisi actually got in touch and they sent over their professional filter kit for the X100V, which is right here. I've had this now for probably 4-5 months, maybe 6 months, but just because of all the faff of lockdown and everything else, I've just not either been able to get out to anywhere of any interest to really test them out, or I've just not been feeling it at all, especially this most recent lockdown. I'm sure I'm not the only one. It's hit me quite hard and I've had absolutely no manav about me. But we're here today, we're up on the Denby Moors, not too far from home at all. And we don't really have any waterfalls around here, so the best we can do is a reservoir with a dam. So this is the kit right here. Get a nice little pouch to hold everything in. It's a very simple kit really. Inside we have filter holder which screws onto the front element and you can slide 2 filters in, and then we have our filters. We've got a 3-stop graduated filter, a 3-stop solid ND, we've got a square polarizer filter which is a interesting one, and one of my favorites is the natural night filter. This looks a little bit funky, you probably don't really want to use it during daylight hours, but for night sky shots, and I'm sure kind of cityscape shots at night time, this is fantastic. I'm pretty sure that by the time we get down there, you will not be able to hear a thing that I say, which is why I'm doing the intro here. But we're going to head down towards the outflow of the dam, and oh, there's a plane. I can't say I was expecting that. Anyway, we're going to head down to the outflow of the dam and test out especially the ND filter in this kit, and then I'll show a few examples from the other filters as well. Hopefully, it doesn't look very likely right now, but we are forecast a very clear sky tonight as well, so we'll see what we can get. Okay, so I hope that you can hear me, I really do. Now, obviously we've got running water here, so this will be perfect for testing out the ND filter. Got the tripod set up, long shutter speed, you want it on a tripod. And another little tip, if you're using the camera strap for tripod work, especially long exposures, take it off. If you got a bit of a breeze, like we have today, that is going to get caught in the wind and it's going to add that little bit of movement to your shot. So, on the tripod, get the strap away. So first off, obviously we want to get the filter adapter on. So all we do is take off the outer ring from the lens and pop that back in the case. Make sure you don't lose it. And then the adapter just screws on like so. Make sure it's snug, but not so tight you can't get it off again. So now the adapter, that spins around quite freely. It's not easy to move around. There's a good little bit of friction, so you can quite easily move it if you need to, but it's not going to be an issue just spinning freely. So we'll line her up. In the drive mode, I'm going to set it to still image, and then I'm going to put a 2-second timer on as well. So to start with, I'm not going to use any filters. I'm going to show you the shot that we're getting here. I'm going to go for an aperture of f5.6, sticking to my base ISO at ISO 160, and in aperture priority, that is giving us a 100th of a second shutter speed. Let's give that a go. So that looks alright, nothing special, but what we really want to do here with the running water is smooth it out. That's pretty much the reason that most people buy an ND filter. So let's pop in the freestock ND. There we go. So now, with the same aperture and same ISO, that's giving us a shutter speed of 1/12 of a second. So let's give that one a go. This one should be considerably smoother than the previous one. Yeah, you can see straight away the water, the whites of the water look a lot smoother. Now, one thing that we mustn't forget about the X100V and the X100F before it as well, is that they have built-in ND filters. I believe the X100F had a 3-stop ND filter, which is the same as what Nisi have given us here, but the X100V has a 4-stop built-in ND filter. So what we can do is actually stack those filters, so we essentially have a 7-stop filter. So let's see what this gives us with both filters. So this now, with both filters, is giving me a 1-second exposure. Let's have a look at that. And that is a lot smoother still. That is pretty lovely. And what I'll do, just by way of example, is I'll take out the Nisi filter and just use the 4-stop filter to compare that to the 3-stop. So let's have a look. That's given us 1/7 of a shutter speed. I'm still constantly surprised by the shutter speeds that I get out of this. I've never used a leaf shutter before and it blows my mind. Okay, so next up, you may notice in this scene that the dam itself is very dark despite the nice bright water flowing down it. But the sky up in the background is very bright. So what can we do about that? That is where the graduated ND filter comes in. Let's see if we can display it here. So you may be able to see here. Oh, come on. I've just realised I was manually focused for that entire thing over there. So this here is the graduated filter. And you can see 1/2 is dark and 1/2 is clear. So what we can do is slide that into the front of the filter holder. This is a great advantage of filter holders. You can usually get more than one filter on front of your lens. There we go, so that's in there. And now through our viewfinder or on the LCD, we can adjust where that gradient appears in the image. And of course, because it tilts, we can tilt it to match the horizon of the image. So we'll try it like that. Now we still have the long shutter speed. Now we have an even longer shutter speed because the sky is darker. So this is giving me now 1.2 seconds. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so there we have the two ND filters included. Obviously the natural night filter isn't really going to be much use to us here, but I'll stick it in anyway to show you how it looks. I'll remove the ND filter and the graduated filter, and I'll pop in the natural night filter. So you can see straight away just through the viewfinder or the LCD, it's a bit of a weird colour tint to it. And like I say, for daylight images, you're really not going to be using it. But that's what it looks like. We'll get back to that one later. Now, an interesting one in this little set is a square polarizer filter. So what we'll do is we'll take a normal photo. This is with no filters at all. I've also now taken off the X100V's ND filter. Let's see what this one looks like. So what you'll very often get when you're shooting water and blue skies, the skies will tend to look a bit washed out. They'll just look white, and the water you'll get reflections from. Especially if it's very sunny, you'll get glare coming off the water. So let's put in the polarizer filter. So you may not really notice much difference right here. Let's take an image. Then we can turn it, and the image, all you may notice is that the image starts to look a little bit darker, just because we're cutting through that glare of the water. So it might be easier to show along with the ND filter. So we'll pop that back in as well. And you know what, we'll switch on the X100's ND filter as well. So this is a little bit weird actually. On water and the sky, we really can't actually see very much difference while turning the polarizer. But what we'll do is we'll take a couple of shots. This one is upright, and then we'll turn it so that it's horizontal. And then this is upside down. And then the other horizontal. Hopefully in the images we'll actually be able to see if there is very much difference or not. Okay, so that's what the ND and graduated ND filters do, and possibly what the polarizer does. I have noticed in testing that, especially with windows, things like that, the polarizer does definitely seem to cut out the glare a lot more. So I'll show a few images of my car, for example. So yeah, I'm going to have a wander, show you a few more images, and then later on tonight we'll hopefully see some clear skies, and we'll get the natural night filter out, see what that can do. Right, let's get to it.
You are my sunlight. You are my sunlight.
Okay, so it's night time, obviously. You may be able to see up behind me, this is our garage, and up there we have Orion. I doubt it'll focus. Oh, maybe it will. We're very lucky here in North Wales that we have such dark skies. Lovely and clear tonight, except we've got a full moon right up there. So I'm practically vlogging by moonlight right now, which is good. Natural light, I suppose, but it's not the best for your astrophotography. It'll tend to just wash out the dark sky. Either way, I've got the X100V set up just by there. It's just switched off, and we're going to take a few astro shots. So what I have here is the natural night filter, and we're going to take some shots without any filters, and then we're going to slide in natural night filter and see what difference it makes. Let's get to it. So I've lined up the shot. On top of our garage we've got a owl weather vane, so that is just on the left hand side, and then we've got Orion taking up the entirety of the right hand side. Manually focused, I'm at f2.8, ISO 1600, and that is giving a shutter speed of about 2.5 seconds. So 2-second timer again. Let's see how that comes out. That didn't have the timer, so we'll do it again. Okay, here we go. There we go. And then I'm not changing anything. I'm just going to slide in the filter. Right. Yeah, go on. Okay. The dog needed a wee. So, I've changed composition. I did try the Orion shot with and without the filter, and because there's really nothing much over that way, it didn't make that much of a difference, or from what I could tell on the viewfinder anyway. Instead, I'm now shooting directly behind this video camera, looking up towards the plough or the Big Dipper or part of Ursa Major, which is near enough upright from here. So I've moved composition, I've refocused and everything. This is now giving me a 3.5 second exposure. So let's give that a go. This is without the filter. And then we'll try it with. That seemed like more than 3.5 seconds. So let's have a look on the back. And there you can see a big difference. The first one you can really see it's a lot warmer. There's a lot more yellow tones in the image. And in the second one, all those yellows have disappeared. And that is basically what this filter was designed to do. All the artificial light that is rising up over the back that way, we've got quite a big town, Mould, as well as Deeside, Liverpool. There's a lot of light pollution over that way, and this has cut through the lot of it pretty much. That is very impressive. I should add, by the way, all the images in this video, I've not been aiming at all for compositional mastery. It is purely to try and demonstrate what the filters can do, how they affect your image. So yeah, there we go. I might stay out for another 10 minutes or so, try and get a few more images, but otherwise I'll join you tomorrow for my final verdict on these filters. Okay, so overall, what do I think about the Nisi Pro Fills kit for the X100V? It's pretty great. This fills kit will not be for everyone. I bought the X100V as a step above a snapshot camera. It's for my everyday comings and goings. I don't really intend on doing any professional photography with it. That's what all of my big full frame Sony gear is for. So this really is just something that can be in my bag at any time, wherever I'm going, and it's just there ready to shoot. So thinking about that, filters in general are not really something that I'm thinking about very often when I'm using this camera. But as I mentioned in my first impressions video, back whenever I actually got these filters, for travel and the odd day trips, weekend trips, whether it's over into Europe or any of the cities in this country, this could be fantastic. First off, these things are so small and lightweight. This whole set, everything inside it and the case, weighs just over 100 grams, and it's pocketable. You can literally have the camera in one pocket and the filters in the other pocket if you needed to. Whenever I think of filters, I'm generally thinking of things like this. This is the Format High Tech 100mm filter system, and just the system itself in its pouch with all the little accessories and maybe 2 filters, you're looking 3 or 4 times the weight and obviously a much bulkier package. So personally, that's what I think of when I think of filters. It's just hassle, but it doesn't have to be the case with these ones. In terms of quality, I've been looking through all the images from this video and I'd be very happy recommending these. You will see a bit of a colour shift using the ND, Grad ND and the Polariser, surprisingly. They all have a slightly warm shift to them, but it's nothing at all that can't be corrected for. And the night sky filter, personally, that's probably my favourite filter of the bunch. I can't wait till I can actually head into Liverpool or Manchester for the evening just to do some night shooting with that filter on. I expect you could get some fantastic shots with that filter. And another branch of photographers that these could actually very well be quite appealing to is street photographers, but more so architecture photographers. A lot of photographers like using solid ND filters to basically get rid of people. Granted, during the pandemic, I'm sure it's a lot easier to get photos with less people in, but a common trick is to get some ND filters on there, set up your shot, and assuming that all the people in the scene are moving, they will mystically disappear from your shot. So with the combination of the built-in ND filter on the X100V and more solid ND filters as well, you could even use the graduated ND filter and just drag it down so it's covering the sensor. That could give you some very long exposures and minimise people in your shots. If only you could do that in life. One thing that I don't particularly like about this system is the polarizer. I can't quite get my head around the square polarizer. In the past, I've only ever used a circular polarizer, as with these larger filter systems. And someone brought this up in comments when I released my previous video. What if you want to use the polarizer and the graduated ND filter? If those two don't line up, there is no way that you're going to make them line up. So one idea, I don't know how feasible this is, but I heard someone saying that they'd added a circular polarizer directly to the lens and then stuck this filter adapter onto the polarizer. So whether Nisi would be able to devise some sort of filter holder with circular polarizer built into the adapter, maybe that would be a far better solution. Or you could just go down the route of getting a circular polarizer and then adapting this on the end of it. But truthfully, that is my only gripe with this system. It's very, very well made. I've had absolutely no qualms about the rigidity or craftsmanship of the adapter or the filters themselves. The images you get are fantastic. You will get glaring, but it's a filter. You're going to get glaring. So yeah, it's a really nice system. I really like it, except the polarizer. And honestly, I'd recommend anyone who's been thinking about getting it to get it. I can't remember the price off the top of my head, but it's not that expensive. I think it's about £50–55, which compared to other filter systems, that is dirt cheap, and the quality is there. Bear in mind that Nisi, they make lenses, and these filters are lens grade optics. Speaking of which, where's my lens? So there we go, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learnt from it. If you've been thinking about getting one of these filter systems, let me know. Have I helped sway you one way or the other as to whether you're getting one or not? If you've got any comments or questions at all, do drop a comment down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. And of course, if you like this video, please do give it a like if you liked it, and hit subscribe if you want to see more like this. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Be good, stay safe, get shooting, and I'll see you in the next video.